Welcome to the pregame show, guys. Hope you enjoy the show. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show. It is the CSFL Week 3 pregame show with the Week 2 recap tied all into it together. I'm your host, JD. The green screen is a little bit off today, but I didn't want to waste any time and I didn't want to not show my face. So, anyways, good morning, everybody, and to the fans, to the CSFL owners. Welcome to the show. I'm JD, your host, Commissioner JD. The CSFL stands for the Canadian Simulation Football League, where AI and strategies determine the outcome, not controller skills. If you want to be a player or coach or owner, join today by joining our Discord channel. On how to join, there is a description in the there's a link in the description below. And if any owners who want to be featured as a part of the show, please DM me for details. What we're going to do today is we're going to go over the Week 2 game recaps. We're going to go over the Week 2 media questions, and then Week 2 player MVPs, and then Week 2 Coach of the Week award. And then we're going to take a quick look at the Week 3 matchups. Today, Friday, we have 2 games, and Saturday, we have 2 games. And they are looking really good, really good ball games. I'm really excited about them and how they're gonna go down. Right here, let's go right into the Cobras versus the Dragons. The Cobras almost lost at the end of this game. The Dragons came back and took the lead, I believe, twice at the end, scoring 14 points to take the lead. But Ron Simmons and Quincy Drennan had an absolutely phenomenal performance. Quincy Drennan, I believe, had 9 catches for over 100 yards. Hold on one second, let me bring it up. Oh no. Yeah, there was quite a lot of great performances in week 1. Why don't we just take a look at that um, in the Discord here? There was quite a lot of MVP choices here for week 2. Like I said, Quincy Drennan had 9 catches for 159 yards and 2 touchdowns. Had quite a performance this week 2 to beat the Dragons. Um, it was a really good game. Went right down to the wire. And congratulations to the Cobras beating the Dragons and finishing really well, actually. I believe the Dragons finished. The Dragons finished with the third offense and second total offense, but the Cobras ended up finishing sixth in offense, but third for the pass, doing really well for the Cobras and the Dragons. Okay, and then the next game, I'll get right into it, is the Blue Jays and the Wildcats. This was a shootout. If you like shootouts, you like high scoring football games, and this is the game that you want to watch right here. The Blue Jays scored 21 points, and so did the Wildcats to a combined 42 points just in the second quarter. It was an absolute shootout, and then went right down to the wire. The Wildcats almost brought it back. Um, to score 42 points on the number one passing defense in the league was pretty impressive. And the Blue Jays scoring 47 points on the road, getting three players for an MVP, and getting Coach of the Week. The Blue Jays is pretty impressive and indeed. Okay, then we'll look at the next game, the Gators versus the Vipers. The Gators and the Vipers went down to an old classic slugfest. The Gators had 14 points for the majority of the game, it felt like, and were shut out in the third quarter, where the Vipers didn't score in the fourth quarter, but were able to hang on by 2 points. It was definitely a slugfest, and the Vipers are really showing that they're for real. They have a great defense, and that they are here to play. And they have the number one ranked defense now, I believe, and it's for good reason. They, though, on the offensive side of the ball, have been struggling to score, only scoring 27 points, I believe, in their first game, and now week 2 only scoring 22 points. They really got to get their offense going, and this week they're going against the last rated Rhinos defense, so hopefully they can get their offense going against the Rhinos defense. And the Gators, I don't know what happened this week, but they played really well, extremely efficient in week 1, but week 2 they were not that efficient. Eric Reeves looked more human than robot, like he was last week, and you could see their weaknesses on offense, struggling to move the ball consistently. But they played really well defensively and held the Vipers to only 22 points. So the Gators defense did what they were supposed to do, but their offense couldn't come through. And now the last matchup of the week 2 wrap up for the game recaps is the Rhinos versus the Piranhas. Wow, I cannot believe how well the Piranhas threw the ball against the Rhinos and really exposed the Rhinos to the entire league of the Piranhas. We're all excited to see the Piranhas and the Rhinos come out and see what they could do, and to see, because the Rhinos let up 43 points in week 1. So we were worried that, maybe that the Cobras are that good, or is it that the Rhinos were that bad? And now this game is proving that the Rhinos were bad at the pass, and they really came out slinging it against them. Scored over 50 plus touchdowns. I believe it might have been 4 touchdowns. Went for over 50 yards for the Piranhas. Long throw Alonzo, really stretching out his arm. He's gonna need a pack of ice after this game, because he had 17 touchdowns just in the fourth quarter to run away with it. But the Rhinos came back strong in the second half, scoring 10 and 13, but wasn't enough. They didn't score in the second quarter, and the Rhinos have not yet found their identity. So I'm curious what the Rhinos are going to do for their team to switch things around. But yeah, that is that. That is the recap, should I say. That's the week 2 recap. So we'll get right into the media questions, because I don't want to forget anything. Boom. Okay, let's go right into the media questions. The Vipers and the Gators and the Rhinos were the only teams to respond and release responses. So we'll read the Vipers first. So the Vipers, we asked, after winning at home, the Vipers finished. Here, I'll highlight it for you so you can see it. See what I'm reading. After winning at home, the Vipers finishing week 2 with the first ranked defense, yet only scoring 22 points. The offense ranked second last in the league, held on, but for how long can the defense keep this up? What's the owners and the coaches' plans for getting more offensive production? And the Vipers released a statement saying, first, yeah, we definitely feel real good on the defensive side of the ball. Our new additions are fitting real nice. Excuse me. I think we made the right moves that fit our scheme. And secondly, this week we had a tough matchup on both sides of the ball, but our focus this week is on our offense. We need to get the ball more to our playmakers. Expect two things this week. Our offense to have a big day and our defense to keep the number one offense to no more than 30 points. So big statement by the Vipers, very confident in their defense, but yeah, they are struggling on the offensive side of the ball. Almost exactly the opposite of the Rhinos, who are doing really good on offense, but are struggling on the defensive side of the ball. So we'll get into the Gators question. And the Gators are where? Right here. Sorry about that. Gators had only 14 points for most of the game and finished with only 20 points, which is the lowest this season. League season. Like the lowest in the league this season. Gators are now ranked last in offense at 8th. What's the franchise's plans for helping this clearly struggling offense of the Gators? And the Gators' official response was the offense was our issue. There's no getting around that. We're going to shape up this next week. But we're going to shape up this next week. We're going strong at these Jays. We can't lose 2 weeks in a row. We believe in ourselves here in the Gators locker room. Now we gotta show up on the game. Now we gotta show up on game day. So they are confident. They know what their problems are. They know what they have to do. They are very confident about their abilities, and so they should be. The Gators got a great organization there. And then the last is Rhinos. Excuse me. Jesus. Lastly is the Rhinos, and let's look at the Rhinos here. Their question was, where's the Rhinos? Rhinos. Don't want to miss the Rhinos question because we missed the Rhinos question last week. Is this the one here? Is this it? No, this can't be it. This is week 1 that we forgot to answer. Where is this week 2? Don't do this to me. Rhinos, there you are. Why can't I find the Rhinos? I can't find it. Let's move on. After Rhinos were asked, after going 0-2, the Rhinos offense still is ranked first in passing. And the defense is allowing 40 points or more a game. Why do you believe new changes at quarterback is the answer to turning this franchise around? Also, just so you guys know and get the scoop before we answer that question, let them answer the question, that there was a trade this week that went down between the Wildcats and the Rhinos, traded franchise quarterbacks and left tackles. The J.J. Horton went to the Rhinos, and Jeannie Ingram went to the Wildcats. So that's what they're referring to when the media asked the Rhinos that question. And then this is the answer here. Well, the defense had a team meeting and they look fired up. They don't like being underestimated, and I believe they will show up to play against the Vipers. And they're very overconfident defense. Oh yeah. As for the offense, the players we added were like the spark for the fire, and we're about to see a shift in the football wins in Rhino Land this week. We earned the number 1 offensive stat, and nobody gonna take that from us, especially the Vipers. So the Rhinos are looking very confident coming into this game for being 0-2, going against the number 1 defense, but they have the number 1 passing offense, so that's pretty exciting for sure. Also, the Vipers are struggling on the offensive side of the ball, and the Rhinos are struggling on the defensive side of the ball. So when the Vipers are on offense and the Rhinos come out on defense, I'm really curious how that's going to go down. Because I feel like that's going to be the difference maker. Because if the defense can really shut them down and the Vipers can't really score, because I don't really think there's going to be a lot of scoring going on the other side either. So I'm assuming this is going to be a very close, very defensive game, which the Vipers have been playing in all week or all season so far in the last two games. So that is the media questions wrapped up. Now we're moving on to player MVPs. We're only at 15 minutes, so we got lots of time. I'm running through this quickly. Vote for your Week 2 MVP, offensive MVP. We got the candidates: Cobras wide receiver Quincy Drennan, 9 catches, 159 yards, and 2 touchdowns. We got the Blue Jays wide receiver Antrell Adams, 5 catches, 133 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Blue Jays running back, the Bullet Train Blaine Higgins, 217 yards, rushing touchdown, 10 broken tackles on 24 attempts. And then the Wildcats running back Grant, the power plant Williams, they're calling him Radioactive Man after this performance, 140 yards, 3 touchdowns, 7 broken tackles on only 7 attempts. And everyone's been talking about this Grant Williams here. And then Blue Jays quarterback Ralph Dorsey, 156.3 quarterback rating, 271 yards and passed for 5 touchdowns to score 47 points on the road. It's kind of insane to think that the Ralph Dorsey doesn't win this or Blaine Higgins doesn't win this. It's actually pretty insane to think that they wouldn't win that. And then to vote for your Week 2 MVP for the defense of MVP, should I say, Wildcats left outside linebacker Nate Addis, 5 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss, and a sack. Cobras strong safety Heath Adkins, 4 tackles with the interception. Piranhas cornerback Terry McGuire, 9 tackles and 4 pass deflections. He led his team in tackles as well. And then Piranhas corner as well, Neil Mitchell, who was faced up against Randy Dorsey, I believe, all day. Had 7 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss, an interception, and 3 pass deflections. And then the Rhinos cornerback Brendan Mann, 6 tackles, 1 tackle for the loss behind the line of scrimmage, 1 interception, and then the 1 defensive touchdown and 2 pass deflections. And that 1 defensive touchdown puts Brendan Mann in the history books for the first ever defensive player to get a touchdown in the CSFL, first ever. So that is history there. And then we'll go into the we'll look at the who you got next when we talk about the week 3 matchups. But right now we're doing the player MVP, and then we'll go to league news and see who won it. And week 2 MVP, congratulations to Grant Williams, who got more votes than Randy Dorsey. And in my opinion, I feel like Randy Dorsey maybe kind of ripped off a little bit this season for this MVP, and is gonna be very upset about it. But the offensive MVP goes from votes, and it goes to running back Grant Williams, 140 yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, 7 broken tackles on 7 attempts, which is insane to think about. 7 attempts, 7 broken tackles, 3 touchdowns is pretty incredible. But did he have a bigger weekend than a quarterback that threw 5 touchdowns or a running back that ran for over 200 yards and broke 10 tackles? I don't know. But defensive MVP goes to Brendan Mann. Absolutely agree with this one. It's not as controversial as the offensive one, but this defensive one is an absolute home run with 6 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss, 1 interception, 2 pass deflections, and that 1 defensive touchdown, which is history in the making. So congratulations to the Wildcats and the Rhinos for getting defensive and offensive MVP players of the week. And then also last but not least, to wrap up our week 2, is the coach of the week goes to the Blue Jays. That was my drum roll. It's pretty bad. But Coach of the Week goes to the Blue Jays. Congratulations. First in points with 47 points. They won on the road. They had over 223 rushing yards on the ground as a team. And they were second, finished the week second in total rushing in the league. And wow, what a game they played on the road, scoring 47 points. And again, Ralph Dorsey, like we saw, threw 5 touchdowns. The one wide receiver caught 3 touchdowns. They just had a great game, and congratulations to the Blue Jays. Who can stop the Blue Jays? Because they're 2-0. So it's kind of scary to think about. Okay, and now we're going to wrap up the show by talking about the Week 3 matchups here. This is the overall standings at the moment. We can take a quick look at this. You have the Blue Jays 2-0, finish Week 2 2-0, Cobras 2-0, Dragons 1-1, Gators, Piranhas, and the Vipers all 1-1, and then the Rhinos and Wildcats at 0-2. But the should I say, this is a very defining week for everybody in Week 3, as certain teams are going to either be able to go 3-0 and pull away, and other teams are going to be able to go 0-3 and start distancing themselves from the pack. And then these 1-1 teams have a lot, this is a big decision. This game is going to steer you one way or another. It's either going to bury you or get you one step ahead. So in a 7-game season, going 3-0 or 0-3 is really big. So good luck to all the owners, and that is the official standings for Week 2. So let's take a look at the matchups this weekend. Our first game of the week is this Friday. Today is the Rhinos versus the Vipers, and holy smokes, this is a good one. So I'm excited about this game. The Rhinos are at home, so I'm not too sure how this is going to go down. They also have a brand new quarterback with J.J. Horton for the Rhinos. They're the first in passing. They can definitely do really well throwing the ball, but they struggle on the ground. And Mark Marshall, their running back, is really good. He's really good. So he needs a little bit more love. They have the fourth total offense, but their defense is really hurting them by letting up 922 yards in 2 games. Ouch, right? And now the Vipers looking really strong, coming off their first franchise win last week, going 1-1, but their total points per game is horrendous at 24 points a game. They really are relying on their defense heavy. They're very heavy relying on their defense to keep them in the game, because their offense is really struggling with the 8th total offense in the league, or 8th total passing offense in the league, and 8th for points per game, which is really low. Which 8th is last, by the way. 8th is last. There's only 8 teams, and I'm not trying to rub that into the Vipers. Yeah. Anyways, there are good things, lots of good things to look at with the Vipers, and that's their defense. And they got the number 1 defense. They have the number 1 passing defense. They got some of the best corners, if not the best corners in the league. And I say corners, not corner. They have multiple corners there that are considered the best at their position. So I'm really excited to see these Vipers prove themselves this weekend. And I'm excited for the Rhinos to turn things around. So we'll see how that matchup goes. Okay, and then the other matchup for Friday is the Blue Jays versus the Gators. And holy smokes, who can stop the Blue Jays? Can the Gators pull this off? I'm excited to see the Gators come out. But man, we got the 7th, which is the second last offense for points per game, going against the first. They're averaging a total 8 points more a game. And that doesn't seem like much, but when one team scores 47 points, and the other team only scored 20, and they only had 14 for the most of the game. That's scary to think about. So hopefully the Gators can keep this close. They have to keep this game close. They can't let the Blue Jays run away with this, because I don't think they'll be able to catch back up with their 8th ranked offense now. The Gators are really struggling to find their identity on offense, but their defense is really good. They held the Vipers to a really low game, 22 points. They were able to play the defensive game really well in a slug match. But when it comes to a shootout, I do not think that's going to favor the Gators. Where the Blue Jays can do it all. The Blue Jays can run the ball. The Blue Jays can throw the ball, even though they're 7th ranked for their passing offense, which is kind of scary to think about, which is kind of really low and concerning when you look at that, right? But the quarterback just came off a 5-touchdown game. So Randy Dorsey has no problem throwing it, plus the quarter and the one wide receiver had 5 catches, 133 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So, and the running back ran for 200 yards. The offense has no problem getting points on the board. They're tied for first for points per game with the second best offense and the first best rushing offense. They have no problem scoring, even though their passing offense is 7th in the league. That's kind of deceiving. And then their second best pass defense stands out big time. 3rd for turnovers. Also, and are 3 turnovers, so they're 1st in the league for turnovers, the Blue Jays. So that's scary to think about right there, where so we got the 1st rushing defense versus the 2nd best passing defense, the 3rd best defense versus the 5th best defense. I could see this being a very defensive game, which will favor the Gators. But if this turns into a shootout, watch for the Blue Jays to run away with it. Okay, and then our Saturday matchup game. So let's me wrap this up in 26 minutes. Try to wrap this up under 30. The Gators versus the Piranhas. Look at this game. This is going to be a crazy game, because we got the 2nd best defense in the Dragons going against the 1st passing offense, tied for 1st with 644 yards in 2 games. That's a lot. That's over 300 yards a game. So they can really throw the ball really well, but they cannot run it, which I'm worried about for the Piranhas not being able to run the ball. They are last in the league for running the ball, but they're 3rd in the league for points per game. So they can score, but they can't keep the possession. They can't keep the ball for a long period of time, where the Dragons are a very defense team that can run the ball really well, that keeps the clock, a lot of the clock. So that's what I'm worried about there. Plus, they're really bad at stopping the pass, the Piranhas. So look for Brendan Platt to have a big day slinging it against these Piranhas. And, look for the Piranhas on offense to maybe struggle a little bit. They're not going against the last ranked defense anymore. This is going to be their first real testament, because the team they just went against last week is the 7th worst defense. And the team they went against week 1 in the Gators are now ranked 8th in the league for defense. So they haven't seen a good defensive team yet, to be honest with you. So this is a big test for the Piranhas to see if they can get out of this alive. And if they really smoke these Dragons, then the Piranhas, their offense, are for real. But if they can get slowed down and these Dragons do what the Dragons do, because they are 2nd ranked in defense, then it's really going to show the true colors of the Piranhas. And the Dragons, man. Can they make a statement win? Because they've come back in the 4th quarter almost twice now. In the first game, they came back and almost won it. And then did win it with a 4th quarter comeback at the end in week 1. And then this last week, going against the Piranhas, they came back twice. If it wasn't for Ron Simmons winning it twice, the Dragons would be 2-0. So, man, this is a tough matchup for the Piranhas. It's definitely looking in the Dragons' favor at this moment right now, but they got to play those games. So, hopefully it can go to a shootout, because if it does, it's going to favor the Piranhas. But if it turns into a slugfest, look for the Dragons to get the win there. And then the last game on Saturday is the Cobras 2-0 going against the 0-2 struggling Wildcats. Somehow the Wildcats are ranked 1st for total offense with 887 yards and tied for first with the Blue Jays with 38.5 points per game, which is really surprising when they're 0-2. They have gotten in two shootouts going against the Blue Jays and going against the Dragons, and both games are absolute shootouts. So they are able to keep up, but were not able to finish the game. Also, they traded their quarterback, their franchise quarterback, J.J. Horton, for Jeannie Ingram. So this will be Jeannie Ingram's first start in a purple jersey for the Wildcats. Let's see if he can take the place of J.J. Horton and really lead against this 2-0 Cobras on the road. Because I'm pretty sure the Cobras are at home as well. So this is a real tough matchup for Jeannie Ingram. Talk about getting thrown in the fire. He's going against this 2-0 team and on this new offense with a team that's never won. So let's see what Jeannie Ingram can do and if he can switch it around. And let's see the Wildcats with their second ranked rushing offense. Let's see them lean a little bit more on Grant Williams. Hopefully we see a big game out of Grant Williams. He had obviously won the MVP, and he's a really good running back on the ground, so expect to see a lot of running from the Wildcats here. But their defense, eighth, which is last. It is last with 953 yards in 2 games, which is unheard of, which is just absolutely embarrassing, which is very devastating for any offensive team or any coaching staff. When you score 42 points but let up 47, it's definitely going to, get the fingers pointing at whose fault it's when it's clearly the defense's fault and is struggling on the defensive side. The Wildcats have not found their identity yet, and they need to really have a statement game against these Cobras in order to stay in the race, because if they go 0-3, it's pretty much playoffs from now on for the Wildcats. So you don't want, they're getting to be a desperate team, and these Cobras are unstoppable. These Cobras are scoring 37 points a game, 4th in the league. They don't look good on offense when you look at that 6th rush and that 6th total offense, but that 3rd passing offense is really strong and very underrated with Ron Simmons and Quincy Drennan, the legend, and the Don, Ron Simmons. They are really, really good on the offensive side of the ball and score when they need to. Their total defense is 4th, which is in the top 4, which is really strong. They're doing really well, and also they had an interception last week. They get sacks. I believe they have 2 games in a row. The only team, I believe, I need my stats people to confirm this for me, but I'm pretty sure the Cobras have 2 games in a row with 2 sacks, which is the only team in the league to do that. So the Cobras here potentially going 3-0, and if they win, this game, and maybe even they might only have to win 1 or 2 more games in the next 5. So if that's the case, they are almost punching their ticket to the playoff race for the top 4 teams. So I'm excited for the Cobras for that reason for sure. Okay, well, I'm over my 32-minute mark. We'll end it with the who you got. For the week, they're looking like the Vipers are favored to win, and the Piranhas are looking to win. They're saying the Cobras are going to win and the Gators are going to win. So thank you so much for the show. I hope you enjoyed it and enjoy the football today. And this is the CSFL. If you want to join the CSFL, you can join by clicking in the description below to join the Discord. CSFL is the Canadian Simulation Football League, where we allow AI and strategies to determine the outcome, not the controller skills. You can be a player, coach, or owner. Join today, and if you've made it this far, thank you for watching the entire video, and enjoy the games today, guys.